Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove and I'm back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to diet, training, and supplementation that I've received over the last 7 days from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers. Remember, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. All right, let's get started with this week's No Filter Q&A with question number 1. Hi, Nick. I was looking over your online programs and would like to know what the difference between a one-time nutritional plan is versus an 8 to 12-week nutritional plan. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, so essentially a one-time nutritional plan, what happens with this type of program is you send me the information that I require to put together a program for you. So that could be things such as a 3-day food journal, right? Foods that you're allergic to, foods that you can tolerate versus foods that you just don't want on your plan, your current body weight, your current activity level, what your workout program looks like. So once I have all that information, I put together a program for you. And the one-time plan is a one-time program that is designed specifically for you based on the information that you have provided me with. Okay, so it's a one-time customized plan. And what I usually do with those type of clients is I give them a 2-week period where we make changes, right? So if they say, you know what, this isn't working for me, do you think we can maybe add more carbs into this meal or take out some fats into this meal or add more protein into this meal? So there's a 2-week grace period that we just make those revisions. Whereas an 8 to 12-week plan, the client has me as their coach for the entire 8 to 12-week process. So I'm making constant changes along the way. And I make those changes and revisions based on the results that you're achieving or not achieving. So that's the main difference. The one-time plan is basically just that. It's a one-time customized program. Like I said, there's a 2-week grace period where I will make revisions along the way based on how the client is digesting the food, their lifestyle. If they're feeling like this type of food is making me feel nauseous, this type of food is making me sick, so I'll be along the way for the first 2 weeks just to make sure that the person is set up, ready to go. But for the most part, most people who hire me tend to work with me for 8 to 12 weeks because they like to have that accountability. They like to send me their weekly check-ins, and they like to have those revisions made based on the results they're achieving from a week-to-week basis. Because you have to remember, if you're following a one-time plan is great. But the problem with a one-time plan is if you're actually making changes from week to week, you have to revise your program. You can't just keep following the same program. And that's where it comes in handy to have a knowledgeable, reputable, and experienced coach working on your corner that can make those revisions, right? But a lot of people who do decide to book the one-time plan, the reason they're doing that is mostly because they want to just maintain their current physique or their current body weight. And that's fine too. So that's why I give people the option, if they want just a one-time customized training program or nutritional plan, or the 8 to 12-week customized nutritional plan training program where they have me as their coach for the entire 8 to 12 weeks. So one's not necessarily better than the other. It really just comes down to what you're looking for. If you want to work with a coach on a weekly basis and have revisions and changes added to your plan from a week to week based on the results you are achieving, the 8 to 12-week plan is for you. If you're happy with just a one-time program that we designed specifically for you, and then we tweak it for the first 2 weeks just to make sure that everything's running smoothly, and then off you go on your own, that's fine too. So that's mainly the main difference between a one-time customized training program versus an 8 to 12-week customized program. All right, next question. Nick, what do you think about squatting below parallel? Is this something you recommend your clients do or don't do? Squatting below parallel or the whole ass to grass is something I advise clients not to do, okay? I've never been a firm believer or an advocate of squatting below parallel. The reason why is when you squat below parallel, you put a lot of unnecessary strain on your meniscus and your patella. Essentially, you put a lot of strain on your knees. So there's no reason to do that. You want to keep tension on your quadriceps primarily, your hamstrings secondary, and your glutes secondary as well when you're performing a barbell back squat. So I've always found for best results, squat parallel to the floor, no lower. I find that works exceptionally well for most people, including myself. And the reason I say most people is because some people actually, depending on how long their limbs are, their tendons are, some people are taller, some people are shorter. Some people actually respond better to front squats or hack squats or ball wall squats or leg press. So not everyone is designed for barbell back squats. But when I work with clients, I always try to get them to squat parallel to the floor, no lower. Okay. Most people have a hard time already squatting parallel to the floor because they're already so tight in their hip flexors and hip abductors. So they already have a hard time getting down parallel to the floor. Problem is too, when I see people who do squat below parallel to the floor, I see a lot of momentum. So it's almost as if they're bouncing back out of the squat. So they squat down and they bounce right back up again. That's going to put a lot of unnecessary strain on your patella, your meniscus, your hip abductors, and your hip flexors, not to mention your lower back as well. So I don't advise people to squat below parallel. I know the whole ass to grass thing, that's big in CrossFit, but I've never been a firm believer in it. And I'll tell you what, in 20 plus years of working out, and I've mentioned this before, my max squat is 315 for 10 reps. And I feel that's a challenging weight for me. I probably could do more, but I feel like I'm getting a good contraction in my quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes. I don't feel a thing in my lower back. My knees are perfect. My joints are great. So I find that squatting a weight like that with double-digit reps parallel has kept me safe. It's great. So it works for me. So that's why I tell my clients, we don't need to squat incredibly heavy weight. Okay, we need to keep our reps in double digits, squat parallel to the floor, keep the tension on the muscle bellies being the quadriceps, the hamstrings, and the glutes, and just go from there. There's no reason to squat below parallel, in my opinion. And finally, as a reminder, if you want to get the most out of your barbell back squat, I strongly advise everyone to squat with their shoes off, okay? Reason being is you're always going to get a better mind to muscle connection with your calcaneus, which is your heel, and that's going to allow you to dig your heels into the floor and push up through your hamstrings and glutes, and then activate the quadriceps, okay? So if you're going to do barbell back squats, my recommendation, shoes off, V squat stance, keep your reps between 10 to 15, squat parallel, no lower for best results. All right, next question. Hi, Nick. I was doing lat pull downs behind my head at my gym, and a trainer came up to me and told me they are dangerous and I shouldn't be doing them. Is he right? Well, he's not wrong. Okay, because here's the thing. Behind the neck lat pull downs can actually be a dangerous exercise if you're not mobile and you're not flexible in your rhomboids and your trapezius, okay? That can put a lot of unnecessary strain on your neck erectors. Numerous times in the past, I've watched people do behind the neck pull downs or lat pull downs. And what happens is you can see that they're bouncing the bar off their traps. This is very dangerous. It puts a lot of excess strain on the neck erectors. So for most people, behind the neck lat pull downs are not advised, okay? Now, if you're someone who is very mobile, very flexible, sure, by all means, I see no problem in doing them. I used to do them when I was younger, but as I got older, I started to feel that it put a lot of excess strain on my neck, okay? So I don't recommend them to most people, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily a dangerous exercise because, again, if you are flexible and you are mobile, they can be a very beneficial exercise. Okay, so it's not a one-size-fits-all answer here. I'd have to see how you're doing the exercise. So one thing I do with a lot of clients that work with me online is if they're performing a certain exercise and they're telling me, I feel a lot of pain while I'm doing this exercise, or I'm not feeling it in the right area, I'll ask them to record themselves doing the exercise and then send me the video so I can see how they're doing the exercise, what their technique and their form looks like. And then I'll give them some feedback on basically what I see. But from what I have seen over the years with most people who do behind the neck lat pull downs, there's a lot of bouncing, there's a lot of momentum, and the flexibility and the mobility is not there. So I would consider that to be more of an advanced movement, okay? So if you are someone who's advancing your training, by all means do it. If you're feeling it in your rhomboids and your lats, I would say continue with the exercise. But if at any point you're starting to feel any strain in your neck, like I started to feel over the years, it's time to retire that exercise. And that's another thing too, a lot of people don't realize is there's some exercises that as we get older, you might have to retire, okay? And that's just because wear and tear on your body. You put more mileage on your body, right? More mileage on your tendons, more mileage on your joints. So it's nothing to feel bad about. It's just your body's getting older. You need to adjust, right? You need to revise your program. There's a lot of exercises I did in my 20s that I no longer do in my 30s. Okay, because I'm all about longevity. I want to keep training into my 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I don't want to stop. So I just have to adjust my training accordingly. Okay, doesn't mean it's going to be any easier. It's just I'm just revising the program. I'm tweaking my training program. That's all I'm doing. So I suggest you do the same. Okay, so if you're starting to feel the exercise where you shouldn't be feeling the exercise, could be time to retire that exercise. All right. Okay. Hi, Nick. How crucial is it to get protein in right after my workout? I honestly don't have an appetite after I train for about 2 hours. Will eating this long after my workout negatively affect my results? I promise you with 100% certainty, it will not negatively impact your results. This whole anabolic window where you need to get protein in within the first 30 to 60 minutes after a workout is pure bullshit. Okay. Our bodies are not this fragile. Just because you worked out with weights doesn't mean you need to chug a protein shake down as soon as you get into the locker room, right after your workout. You don't need to. You don't need to consume 16 ounces of chicken breast and a cup of rice right after you finish your last set of bench press. Okay. There's no anabolic window. I promise you this. There's no science backing this. This was science that was backed by supplement companies over the years, right? And that's how they would sell their post-protein shakes, right? Post-workout protein shakes. It's bullshit, okay? So what I always advise my clients to do is after a workout, if you're not hungry, don't eat. Don't worry. You're not going to go into a catabolic state right away. I promise you, you will not go into a catabolic state right away. What I would recommend, though, is within like that 2 to 3 hours, which it sounds like you're doing, get something in your body. Get a lean protein, get a complex carb, get a healthy fat, preferably all in one meal, okay? So that's what you should be doing. Listen to your body. But if you like to eat 2 or 3 hours after workout, that's totally fine, okay? You just want to make sure that your blood pressure, your blood sugar levels don't drop too much, right? Because you just worked out. So that's one thing just to watch, okay? So if you're worried about blood sugar levels dropping, that might be something like just drinking like a Gatorade or something like some BCAAs just to keep your, and when I say Gatorade, I mean like the no sugar Gatorades. I just mean you want something with electrolytes, right? Just to keep the blood sugar levels a little bit higher, stable. So that's the only thing. You just don't want your blood sugar levels to drop if you go too long without any nutrients entering your system. But I personally, I sometimes do a workout at like, say, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I have clients from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and I might have a break at 11 a.m. I'll eat at 11:15. So that's like 4 hours and I feel fine. That's fine. I haven't lost any muscle. I promise you. This is a science, and I say science with brackets, that was put out there by supplement companies in order to sell their protein powders, right? Oh, you got to consume a post-workout protein shake. And I've said this before. In all the years I competed, I never once consumed a post-workout shake, not once. And many times, I would go 2 or 3 hours after workout and not eat. And I was placing top 3 in pretty much every show I ever competed in. So it didn't affect my results. And I have never seen it affect any of my clients' results. Okay. Some people just after a workout, they're just not hungry, and that's fine. It's just the same thing I say to people who don't want to eat before a workout. I'm like, you know your body better than anyone else, better than I do, better than any dietitian, nutritionist, doctor. You know your body. So you have to listen to your body. If you know that eating before a workout is going to make you nauseous and make you feel lethargic, don't eat before a workout. If you know that eating right after a workout is going to make you feel nauseous and lethargic, don't eat right after a workout. I promise you're not going to have any negative impacts whatsoever. What's going to happen, though, is if you listen to your body, if you don't eat before that workout, if you know eating before your workout bothers you, you're going to have a great workout. And if you wait 2 or 3 hours after your workout, because you know you're going to be nauseous or lethargic if you eat right away after workout, you're going to digest your food more efficiently, right? So you're going to absorb the carbohydrates, and the fats more efficiently, right? You're going to allow your muscles to absorb that protein synthesis. So listen to your body. Block out the supplement bullshit from the bro science. I promise you, it's useless. It doesn't work, okay? This was all just a marketing scam. That's all it was, okay? So if you want to eat 2 or 3 hours after a workout, I say go for it. That's fine. Okay, Nick, do supplements work, or are they just a waste of money? Good question. So I've talked about this before. So again, this is just my opinion here, okay? I've got no skin in the game. In my personal opinion, 90% of supplements, over-the-counter supplements that you can walk into a supplement store and purchase, are garbage. They don't work. They don't do anything. Okay. But then you have that 10% that actually do work and actually have some real concrete science and evidence backing their claims. And it's hard to distinguish between what works and what doesn't work. And, I can give you a list of the 10% of what I believe works. But again, it really comes down to what you as an individual need, right? And I always tell every single client I work with, I always tell people, if you're working with a budget, the bulk of your money should be going into training and nutrition. And if you still have a bit left over, then that leftover can go into supplements. But that's where the bulk of your money should be going, right? So if you can set aside, let's say, $2,000 a month towards your fitness, well, in my opinion, the majority, as in 90% of that, should be going towards nutrition and training. And if you have a little bit left over, then that can go towards the supplements, okay? So things like pre-workout powders, they can be beneficial, but really a cup of coffee will give you about the same effect, right? Creatine, for example, creatine will give you strength in the gym. It absolutely will. But you know what? If you just stay hydrated and drink lots of water, that will do the same, right? You just make sure that you're putting some electrolytes in that water. That will fill those muscle bellies. So you don't really necessarily need to have supplements. Now, remember, I'm talking about supplements. I'm not talking about vitamins, because I am a firm believer in using vitamins like vitamin D, omega-3s, vitamin E. These are essential in my opinion, okay? Zinc, right? If you can, have a good weight isolate protein powder if you can afford it. If you can't, go to food first. Food always wins over protein powder, always. But if you have some money left over and you can budget for it, a good protein powder is good because it's convenient to get into your system. But that's the only reason. It's not necessarily better than a chicken breast, right? In fact, I would rather you had the chicken breast over the protein powder. But if you can't afford both, have both, because the protein powder is just easier to consume. You can throw it in your oatmeal in the morning, right? You can throw it in a shake if you're on the go and you're in a rush. So it's just easy to have. So, and it makes it much easier to hit your protein limits for the day as well, right? But if you want my honest opinion, and this is from someone who's been in the industry for over 20 years, 90% of the supplements that are sold over the counter are garbage, and you're wasting your money. Okay. The supplements, again, I'm going to use quotations here. The supplements that work, those are the anabolic steroids. Those are the ones that you see the guys at the Mr. Olympia and the women on the Mr. Olympia stage, Mrs. Olympia stage. That's what they're using. Okay. The reason they look the way they look is diet, training, and anabolic supplementation, not from taking creatine or whatever the hell the pixie dust powders they're selling at these supplement stores. So this is me just being very transparent. I want you to save money. I don't want you to waste your money. So in my opinion, do supplements, over-the-counter supplements work? I would say that 10% of the ones on the market do, but for the most part, 90% don't do shit. Save your money, put your money towards nutrition and training. All right. Okay, next question. Hi, Nick. Which type of training will produce better results? High intensity training for shorter workouts or low intensity training for longer workouts? Neither. In my opinion, you're best to go with moderate training for 45, 60 minutes. So whether you find 45, 60 minutes to be long or not, my whole theory is using what we call moderate intense training. Okay, so not too high, but not too low, right? You don't want to be dying in the gym. Okay, so it's all, again, goes back to longevity. And one of the reasons that for myself and a lot of the people I've worked with over the years, they've been able to last so long training day in and day out and prevent any injuries from occurring is because they don't go balls to walls in the gym. It's not do or die. It's, okay, let's train intelligently. Let's approach each workout methodically. Okay, so that's the type of thinking you need to go into your workouts with. So for myself personally, when I work out these days, I don't lift incredibly ridiculous weights. I'm not looking to hit PRs, personal records. I'm looking to, and again, I said this last week on the channel, I don't like the word maintenance, but I am looking just to maintain a current physique that I have. So I don't necessarily need to push beyond my limits. But at the same time, I want to challenge myself because I want to feel like I'm doing something. I don't want to waste my time in the gym. So I wouldn't recommend doing these super low intensity workouts for like 90 minutes to 2 hours, but nor would I recommend doing super high intensity workouts for 30 minutes, because then you risk injury of your tendons and your joints, your ligaments, right? So I find a good mix is somewhere in the middle where you have that moderate intensity. And so what I always tell clients is we should be pushing at about that 75 to 80%. So we don't need you to push to 100%, but I don't want you to see you dogging it and going down to 30 or 40% and playing on your phone, cruising Instagram and playing on TikTok. I want you there. I want you focused. I want you training your ass off, but with moderate intensity. And moderate intensity doesn't mean it's easy. It just means that you're not pushing to failure. You're pushing close to failure. So you're giving it about that like 75 to 80%. Like, could you do 2 or 3 more reps? Yeah, you probably could. But are you risking injury doing those 2 or 3 reps? Probably am. Could you do that extra 15, 20 pounds? Yeah, you probably could. But are you risking injury doing that extra 15, 20 pounds? Yeah, you probably are. So I always tell people, you want to play it safe. You want to make sure that you're able to last, because if you get an injury, now you can't train for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. Now what happens, right? And I've seen this before. A lot of the guys I used to compete against, they don't even work out anymore because they've all suffered serious injuries, right? So you don't want to injure yourself in the gym. So that's why you always want to train with intelligence, right? And again, I'm a firm believer in training. When you train with high volume workouts and double digit reps, and you keep those workouts between 45 to 60 minutes, whether you think that's short or not. For myself personally, I've mentioned this before, none of my workouts are longer than 45 minutes. And I'm in and out of the gym and my joints feel great. I feel that I'm getting the contraction. And I've mentioned this a few times. I feel better now in my late 30s than I did in my early 20s. I have more energy. I'm stronger in the gym. I'm taking less rest periods. So I attribute that to just approaching each workout with intelligence. So I wouldn't recommend doing short duration, high intensity, nor would I recommend doing low intensity, long duration. Moderate intensity for 45, 60 minutes in and out of the gym. That's the best way to do it. Okay. Hey, Nick, I know you don't like the if it fits your macros diet, but if it comes down to calories in versus calories out for losing fat, why does it matter where the calories come from? I haven't got a question about the if it fits your macros diet in a long time. Okay, so a calorie is not just a calorie. Okay, let's get that clear first. We have macronutrients and we have micronutrients. Micronutrients are the quality of the foods that you are consuming. Okay, so let's say that a slice of pumpkin pie has 60 carbohydrates in it. And let's say a cup and a half of brown rice has 60 carbohydrates in it. The micronutrients, the quality of the brown rice versus the slice of pumpkin pie are much better in the brown rice versus the pumpkin pie. You're going to feel better if you have the brown rice versus the pumpkin pie. What's going to happen if you have the slice of pumpkin pie? You're going to feel really good at first. You're going to have a spike of energy. And well, your insulin levels are being spiked from the sugar. What's going to happen though, that energy is going to crash very quickly. So when you have your blood sugar spike, what happens? It drops very quickly, right? Whereas if brown rice, I'm just using brown rice as an example, it's a complex carbohydrate. So you're not going to feel that surge of energy, but you're going to feel stable. Your blood sugar levels are going to be stable. Your insulin levels are going to be stable. So you're going to have stable energy. You're not going to have energy that goes like this, up and down, right? So this comes down to the micronutrients, the quality of the food that you're consuming. And, over the years, especially between, I think it was 2012 through 2016, if it fits your macros was very popular back then. And, I was writing blogs on it and I was talking on this YouTube channel about it. And, if you followed me for the past 10 years, you know that I'm against the if it fits your macros diet. I don't believe in it. So it's about the quality of the food you're consuming, because if you're consuming shitty food, even if it fits your macros, if it fits your calories, yes, you might lose weight, but you're not going to be putting on good quality weight. So what I always tell clients is you don't want to just focus on the scale, okay? It's good to, be doing what I tell clients is to doing weekly or biweekly check-ins on the scale just to see what's going on with the scale. But it's more important to look at your body composition as a whole. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds and, you've been training for, let's say, a month, and then you get to the scale and you're like, I don't understand. I'm 205 pounds, but I've been training really hard and my diet's dialed in. Why did the weight go up on the scale? And I typically ask people, yeah, but how loose are your pants? Where are you on your belt buckle, right? Look at your arms, look at your chest. So you're changing your body composition. So you're losing fat, but building muscle. So this is where the scale sometimes becomes irrelevant, right? So we don't just want to look at calories. We don't just want to look at macronutrients. We want to look at the micronutrients, the quality of the food that you are consuming. This is crucial because if you're going to train with the utmost amounts of intensity, moderate intensity, you want to make sure that you're fueled properly. You can't go into the gym on a slice of pumpkin pie. I promise you, you're going to feel like shit. You're going to train the first maybe 5-10 minutes with a lot of energy, then you're going to crash. So this is why it's important to focus on consuming complex carbohydrates in the form of brown rice, quinoa, oatmeal, right? Sweet potatoes, yams, lean protein sources like chicken breast, right? Lean ground turkey, salmon, right? Cod, healthy fats, omega-3 eggs, avocado, natural peanut butter, extra virgin olive oil. So these foods will allow you to perform better in the gym, and therefore you will actually lose fat and build muscle more efficiently and more quickly, as opposed to following a diet that just fits your macros or fits your overall caloric intake. Okay, because if you're consuming shitty foods and you're going to the gym, I guarantee you're not going to lift the heaviest weights that you possibly can with good form. You're not going to train with the utmost amount of intensity with good form. You're going to feel like shit. So if you want to build muscle properly and lose fat efficiently, you have to make sure you're following a diet that takes into consideration your micronutrients. Okay. So this is why I'm against diets like the if it fits your macros diets or the whole calories in versus calories out. That to me is garbage. It's nonsense. If all you care about is a number on the scale, by all means follow it. But if you really care about your body composition, as in how you look and putting on quality, lean, dense muscle and losing stubborn body fat, you need to start focusing on your micronutrients. All right. Okay. Hi, Nick. Do you think you will compete again? And do you still diet and train the same now that you no longer compete? I never want to say never, but the chances of me getting on stage again to compete are highly unlikely. I just don't have the fire anymore to get on stage and compete. Now, again, I'm not saying that I won't compete. I mean, maybe I'll make some type of comeback to the stage in my 40s. So I compete in masters, maybe get my pro card. But as it stands right now, I have no aspirations to compete whatsoever. And to tell you the truth, I actually enjoy working out more now than I ever did before. When I used to work out in the gym, when I was competing for shows, there was it felt like pressure, this stress I had. I felt like I always had to push myself beyond my limits. I didn't enjoy working out. I felt it was a job, right? I felt like I was going to work. And now that I no longer compete, I actually enjoy training. I don't train with any less intensity. I still train actually with pretty much the same weights that I was training when I competed with. I still do the same exercises. And to answer your question, yes, I still follow the same diet. I might allow myself a little bit more flexibility in my diet. Like I might allow myself a little bit more condiments like sugar-free ketchup, Bragg soy sauce, a little extra peanut butter, but I don't go crazy. I'm not doing like McDonald's or I'm not ordering from KFC. I'm not doing anything like that. So I still portion and weigh out my food for the most part. I mean, there are a few meals that I'll just, have at a restaurant every once in a while. But for the most part, my diet and my training has remained relatively the same. Competing never motivated me to go to the gym. I already enjoyed going to the gym. Competing was something that I used to build my business, and it did. It helped. I was able to work with competitors. I still do work with competitors based on the fact that I myself competed in bodybuilding for over 10 years. So it really did help build the foundation for my business, especially with the competing component. But again, at my age now, I'm 38, going into my 40s in the next 2 years. Health comes first, and I also know that bodybuilding is a young man's game. So you gotta watch how far you push those limits. And unfortunately, a lot of the guys that I used to compete against when I was in my 20s, some of them aren't even here anymore, and it's because they abused the anabolic steroids. Right? A lot of those guys don't even work out anymore. So I consider myself to be fairly lucky to still have my health in check. I've had all my blood work done. I'm very healthy. Knock on wood, I have no real health issues. But again, no aspirations to get back on stage. I still love training people for shows. You know, it's something that maybe I just live through them vicariously, but I still like, you know, I get excited for my clients who get ready for a show and I want to see how they do. I always check in with them during the morning show and then during the day before the night show. So, you know, I'm still living vicariously through those people. But for myself personally, I can't really see myself stepping on stage again. As I said, though, I'll never say never. I didn't officially retire, but I really can't see myself getting on stage unless for some reason I see how it's going to, you know, help my business in some way. You know, in that case, I could see it. But at this point, I'm more business oriented. I know I have my mind focused more on growing the business, investing. I have a financial portfolio that I invest in on a regular basis. I'm looking at more real estate ventures. So that's where my mind's gone to now as I enter my 40s. But I still train every day. I mean, I think I haven't taken a day off since probably New Year's Eve. I've been working out every day. I enjoyed going to the gym. And one of the things I enjoy about no longer competing is because that pressure is no longer there. If I'm scheduled to do a leg day, if I don't feel like training legs that day, I just won't train legs that day. I'll switch it for chest. I'll do legs the next day. But back when I used to compete, I used to be like, no, it has to be leg day. And it has to be at this time. And I can't have any interruptions. And now, you know, if I am doing a leg day and all of a sudden I have an important conversation I have to have with the trainer or I have to take a phone call with a client, I'll take it. I'm a little bit more relaxed. I still train hard, but I'm a little bit more relaxed. I've taken my foot's still on the gas pedal, but let's just say it's just hovering over the gas pedal. So I'm allowing myself to enjoy working out again. So again, no aspirations to get back on stage. Diet and training has remained the same. But like I said, maybe I'll make a comeback in my 40s and do one more show. But for now, doesn't look likely. All right. Okay. So that's the last question. Oh, no, there are two more questions. Okay. Hi, Nick. Are you currently accepting new clients? I have a friend that has commented how good I look, and I told him my body has changed dramatically since working with you, and now he would like to train with you as well. You know, I always say I am accepting new clients. And the reason I say that is because even though my in-house roster is currently full, there are always people on my roster who go away. You know, I have people that go away for vacation. They're gone for 2-3 weeks. I have people that actually go on business trips. They're gone for a month. So all of a sudden I have a time slot that opens in my schedule. So I always tell new clients that if they want to work with me specifically, I always say, look, I can give you, let's say Tuesdays at 9 a.m. for the next 4 weeks. But after that, I can't guarantee you that time slot. However, I can guarantee that some other time slot will become available because I always have clients that are going away, right? Again, whether it's vacation, whether it's business, taking some time off from the gym. So I usually have a time slot that is available during the day, cancellations, so on. But for the most part, right now on a consistent basis, my in-house roster is full. But with that being said, we do have 3 other trainers that are highly certified, highly experienced, that can definitely help you get your goals to can help you achieve your health and fitness goals. But if you want to work with me specifically, unfortunately, at the moment, my roster is full. However, if you contact me, nick@foreverfitperformance.com, I promise you I will try to find a time slot in my schedule that might work. Like, for example, if I have someone who's going away mid-January, I might have a regular 8 a.m. time slot available Monday to Friday for 2-3 weeks. You know, you can book in with that. And then after those 2-3 weeks, we can find another time slot for you. Right. And if it's not with me, it'll be with one of our other trainers. It'll be my program, but the other trainer will be taking you through it. Okay. And if you don't want to wait to work with me, you can also join my online coaching app available at the App Store, Forever Fit Performance. And you can work with me online by having me design a customized training program for you, a customized nutritional plan for you. And you'll have me as your coach to make weekly revisions based on the results you are achieving in the gym. Right. And I constantly am on my online coaching app. So if you're doing a training program with me and you're doing an exercise like, hey, Nick, I don't know if I'm doing this barbell back squat correctly. As I mentioned earlier, you send me a video of yourself doing the squat and I will provide feedback. I'll correct your form and technique through the coaching app. Okay. So I'm always accepting new clients. I don't want to ever shut my door down and say, no, I'm never accepting new clients or my roster is full. You can't work with me. Even if my roster is full, I'm always open to working with new clients. You just might have to wait a little longer. And during that time, if you want to work with one of our other trainers, I would highly recommend that because honestly, those trainers, I don't think of myself as any better of any of the trainers that work on our roster. All right. Last question. Nick, what are your top 3 tips for 2024? Yeah, I had this question 2 weeks ago, and I'm sorry I ran out of space to answer it. So I'm sorry if I'm answering this question a little late. I did briefly answer it on my Instagram story. So, you didn't mention if this was fitness related or financially related or lifestyle related. So, I mean, if my 3 tips for 2024 mean anything, my top tip would be don't save money, invest it. To me, saving money is pointless. Okay. Because saving money, you lose money in a savings account to inflation all day, every day. So as soon as you get money, you should be investing, right? Whether that's in your TFSA, whether it's in your investment portfolio, whether it's in real estate, you should be funneling that money into some sector. You should not be putting it into a savings account. Okay. Not even a high savings account, because you will lose money on that. So I always believe in investing money, not saving it. Okay. I'm a firm believer in throwing everything on my credit card and paying off that credit card every month, because that's how you establish good credit. Okay. So I never have cash on me. Everything goes on my card, paid off at the end of the month. I establish credit card. I establish good credit, and I also usually get cash back on my credit cards. So that's one thing too. So invest your money, don't save it. Second thing I'd mentioned was don't cheap out on your health. Double down on your health. And I know, coming from me, from someone who works in the fitness industry and who makes money in the fitness industry, it's like, well, yeah, you're just being like a sleazy salesman. But I can honestly say that health is something I don't cheap out on. So when it comes to the supplements that I purchase, right, the clothes that I buy for the gym, the food that I purchase for my diet, I never cheap out on, right? It's not even questionable. It's non-negotiable for me. I'm like, if this is what it costs, this is what it costs. So if this is what it costs to buy the best food, to buy the best supplements, to work with the best trainer, I'm willing to spend it. Okay. Because again, there's so many people who cheap out on their health. And then you see it as they get older, they're paying the price, right? They have all these health conditions. So if you are fueling your body properly with the proper supplementation, the proper nutrition, and you're working with someone who is an experienced, knowledgeable, reputable trainer, and yeah, you might have to pay more, but you also know that you're going to get the best results in the most efficient manner by working with a professional versus doing it on your own, or maybe working with someone who has like 1 or 2 years of training experience who's half the price. So I always tell people, double down on your health, right? That's super important. So that would be my number like 2, like number one, number 2. And I think if I was to say my number 3, it would be, I believe I mentioned, like, don't engage in that thirsty online social media behavior. In fact, disengage and unfollow it, right? And that's something that I've done over the years, is that if I see negativity on social media, like I see people putting people down, shaming people, bikini photos, all this thirsty attention, I just unfollow it. I'm like, I don't need to validate you. I don't need to validate that type of behavior. I don't like when I see people like shaming people online when they're talking about showing videos in the gym of people doing exercises incorrectly. I don't like people looking for constant validation online by putting out that toxic behavior. So to me, social media is a tool, and it's something that we should be using to help promote our businesses, promote each other, support each other, but it shouldn't be used to help validate our egos. So this is why that one thing that I've done, especially in the last few months, is I've just stopped following people who are putting up thirsty behavior, because I'm just like, this to me is just toxic behavior. And by me following it, I'm supporting it. No, I'm not going to like it, but by me even following it, I'm supporting it. So I just disengage, I unfollow. And the people that I like to follow online are people who are very positive, people who are ambitious, people who are uplifting, people who motivate me to be a better business owner, be a better personal trainer, online coach, right? So if you look at my social media, I'm always trying to promote not just my business, but positivity, right? And trying to encourage people to go to the gym. Whether you're working with me or not, work on your health, work on your fitness, take your health seriously, right? And that's the type of people I like to follow, people who are motivating people, not people who are putting others down, right? Not people who are looking for thirsty behavior, all these OnlyFans girls and OnlyFans guys, none of that nonsense. Because again, that to me, you're just validating unhealthy, toxic behavior. So that's my 3rd tip, right? Unfollow, disengage, thirsty online behavior. Double down on your health. Don't cheap out on it. Okay. But that, like, it really comes down to that, right? Invest your money, don't save your money. And those were the top 3 tips that I gave on my Instagram story a few weeks ago. And again, those are the 3 tips that I try to follow myself, because I find if you stay true to that, you can do quite well, right? It comes back down to staying focused and staying in your lane. Those are my 3 tips for 2024. Anyway, that's it for this week's No Filter Q&A. This episode will be going up this coming Tuesday. I believe Tuesday is January the 16th. As a reminder, if you have any questions related to your diet, training, or supplementation program, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. I want to thank everyone for continuing to support my YouTube channel, continuing to support my online coaching app, and of course, continuing to support our in-house personal training business. 2024 has been a great start for us, so I really appreciate all the support and feedback that I've gotten from many of you. And yeah, we're going to keep these Q&As going for as long as we possibly can. But for now, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now.